Today I'm talking about overcoming self-doubt and how to embody certainty when you are on a sales call or when you're marketing or when you're speaking somewhere. I was recently inspired by a conversation with one of my clients regarding this, and she asked the question, how do you show up and do Facebook Lives? How do you show up and overcome this self-doubt sometimes that, sometimes shows up for all of us, most of us? I think it's very human to have self-doubt. And as I was pondering that question and responding, one thing that came up for me was something that isn't really talked about so much, and that's your inner okayness. So your inner okayness is knowing that you're going to be okay no matter what happens and grounding into that. And of course, we all want to thrive, right? I know that we all want to thrive. I know that if you're watching this, you're not here to live a mediocre life. You're not here to just be okay, right? But the first piece is really understanding that you are okay and that there is nothing that you are going through that no one else has gone through. I think a big piece of my journey and of my journey towards empowerment and towards growth and towards being able to share everything that I share, as vulnerable and raw as it has been, as it is, really stems from knowing that I'm okay. I know what my guilt feels like. I know what my shame feels like. I know my self-hatred. I know what those are. And I'm not afraid of it. And I'm not afraid of anyone else's. And that's what allows me to show up so powerfully as a coach. That's what allows me to show up so powerfully for other people, is because we all have these things. And when we accept that about ourselves, we allow ourselves the freedom and the ability to own our inner okayness. And so how do you even go about owning that inner okayness? How do you go about doing that process? Well, it is personal development work. And it's also realizing that there is not one human being in the world that has not felt these emotions before, that has not felt these things before. And it's also just looking back and thinking about your life and realizing, wow, I've overcome this, I've overcome that, I've overcome XYZ, and understanding that because you've overcome these things, you are a resourceful being. And because you're a resourceful being, you're okay, and you're not any different than anyone else. And I know that sounds super basic. And I also think sometimes we forget. We have a tendency to compare ourselves to others when others are mainly showing up in their success. They're mainly showing up as, being as the mask that they want you to see, right? Where when we are with ourselves, and if we're bold enough and courageous enough to take off our masks, sometimes that picture doesn't look so pretty as what others project themselves to be. And so I think at the very base of it, it's really remembering your inner okayness, that it's okay. And so when we have that as a baseline, we can then go and accept ourselves. And when we accept ourselves, it just feels like such a relief and such a release that there isn't this built up pressure of who you have to be or show up as on a sales call. And more so when you embrace your inner okayness, you can be on a sales call and be like, you know what? I am fucking showing up for this person powerfully, right? And I don't care if they buy or if they don't buy. I'm showing up because they came to me and they believe that I can help them. And so I'm going to powerfully show up. And that's detachment from the outcome. And just as much as people can feel pressure from a salesperson, they can also feel when you aren't attached to the outcome. And when there is that, and you're serving them powerfully, oof, that's a magical combination. So I've got to jump into my meeting right now. And I really wanted to respond to this and just share universally, we all have dealt with moments of self-doubt. We've all been there. And it's not so much about overcoming, it's about accepting. And it's about accepting all of you and not judging yourself for it, because you are human. And guess what? Every single person that you will work with and that you will serve and that you will coach is human too. So the more that you can accept all parts of yourself, the more that you will be able to powerfully hold space for them, understand them, witness them, see them. And the more that you can do that without judgment, which always starts without judging yourself first, right? Is what will support you powerfully in sales and in marketing and in showing up. Okay, big hug everyone. Bye.